Hey, hey, hey. Happy Monday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, incredibly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Monday, November 28th, 2022. This is live stream 856. If you're not familiar with the show, let me point out, super casual around here. We're just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and we'll normally take a live look at a tabletop game. And yes, we are doing that tonight as per usual because I am kicking off Free League Publishing Week with a first look at Cy Borg, or since Merkberg is pronounced Mirkberg, maybe it's Cyberg, but I think they're going with Cyborg with this one. And we will dive on into this new dark science fiction role playing game in just a bit. So if you're not overly familiar with the stream, I always start off with the tabletop gaming news of the day. So that means it's going to be about 35 minutes or so before we jump on into that first look. Now, if you happen to be watching live, well, then kick back, relax, put your feet up. Probably had a long Thanksgiving weekend with family and friends. You know how stressful that can be. Plus, it's also Cyber Monday. I'm sure there's some stress level associated with that for a lot of people out there. But just relax. We'll get the cyborg. Don't worry. But if you are actually watching 30 minutes or more after this stream ends, then you can actually jump past the news. Although I've got some cool news tonight, got cool news every night. But you can skip past. You will find that there are timestamps. They are located in the show notes, or depending on the device that you're happen to be watching this on, might actually be right there in the timeline, right in front of you on the screen. So, but that will be 30 minutes after the stream comes to an end that those will be up. All righty. Also want to point out, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you won't find here on the YouTube channel. Also, because this is a live stream, that means there's chat available, not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, maybe you've got a question, a comment, maybe there's something about Cy Borg you want to get a closer look at, by all means, chime in. I'll do my best to respond. Should also mention you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours before you can take part in chat. So, right out the bat, Mr. Eddie T is with us, as is the Motor City Madman. Yes, the Madman himself, Stray Kismet, Coco B, Kathy Evans. I think that wraps up who is in here right now. So we've got a nice chat off and running. So always have my new little decorations behind me. So yes, once Thanksgiving is over, make a few little changes to the duct tape studio. So, got a couple of new items behind me as well. And you probably noticed that taking a sip from a holiday mug. Coco B says, "Ooh, Christmas." Madman says Thanksgiving weekend's always extremely busy for them. They do all the cooking, all Christmas decorating. Kids do help with the tree. Well, thank goodness somebody's giving you a hand. I didn't do any cooking. Well, okay. Well, no, I really didn't cook. I made some side items that I'm known for, especially my sweet and sour cucumber salad that I kind of took over the recipe from my grandmother. Although I got to point out, it's not really her recipe. It's just what I think it was based on my palate. So here's hoping everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Of course, if you're outside the US, here's hoping you had a wonderful weekend. Nice Black Friday. Hopefully, score some pretty cool deals. Cyber Monday is still going on. And of course, I do have a listing of various different special deals in a post over at thegaminggang.com also. All right, let's jump on into the news because making its way into stores in early 2023 is Omicron Protocol from Dead Alive Games. Here's the latest. Omicron Protocol is an intra-apocalyptic, cyberpunk-themed, squad-based miniatures board game for 1 to 4 players, where you control a squad of unique characters and a third-party enemy to harass your opponent, or play solo or cooperatively as a team to complete objectives and survive. Each character in the game is represented by a detailed 32mm scale miniature, possessing their own rich history and personality, as well as powerful cybernetic abilities. Play the competitive or solo cooperative modes through various narrative scenarios to survive the crisis. The game is filled with innovative game mechanics that make every game thrilling and accessible to both miniatures and board gamers, ushering players deeper and deeper into the gripping lore of San Lazaro and those who fight in its chaotic streets. In the game, you play with a squad of 1 to 4 characters, either competitively against another player or team, solo, or cooperatively with friends. Each round consists of spending action points on each of your characters, activating them one by one, and using movement and tactics to survive the onslaught of the cybermemic, I should say, memetic, cybermemetic sociopaths, the Siams, the cyber zombies of the game. All games are based on scenarios derived from the lore of the world, and the game can be linked together into a light campaign in both competitive and cooperative modes. The winner is the team that scores the most victory points, competitive, or reaches a VP goal in a certain number of rounds when you're playing solo or cooperative. Omnicron Protocol is for, once again, 1 to 4 players. It's for ages 10 and up. Seems a little strange. Combat miniatures game, ages 10 and up. Okay. Plays around 45 to 90 minutes, and the core set will carry an MSRP of $99.99 when it arrives in January. So there were some images of painted minis and things like that over on DriveThruRPG, but I couldn't really tell if they were affiliated with the designers of the game or not, or with the company. So I didn't want to use them because, I don't want to be taking somebody else's photography and utilizing that. As I take a peek at a really big spider heading on up. And this is the kingdom of the spiders. It's 40 degrees outside. These things should be gone and done with. This guy, no joke. I mean, the body is pretty small. But I'm like, if this thing like fell on me, I would not be happy. Thankfully, it's off that away, making its way up into the rafters of the duct tape studio / empire of the spiders. Now available from GMT Games is Skies Above Britain. I've got the dope. Skies Above Britain is a solitaire game depicting a Royal Air Force squadron of Hurricanes or Spitfires waging a desperate effort to disrupt and destroy German daylight bombing raids over southeast England in the summer of 1940. The player's individual aircraft, each represented by a stickered block, must locate the incoming raid, intercept it, and evade or defeat swarms of escorting German fighters that usually outnumber you and whose pilots have superior experience and tactics. The game simulates dogfighting and fighter versus bomber action at an individual aircraft level using a card assisted system that simulates key tactical decision making without losing the feel of fast paced aerial combat. A player can fly scenarios representing an individual patrol or use the patrol generator to create an endless variety of realistic individual patrols, multi patrol campaigns, or larger campaigns covering the entire Battle of Britain. Each patrol will take a half hour or more to play, while a campaign can last anywhere between 6 and 28 patrols. Full campaigns follow the chronolog- uh, chronology. Chronology. What the hell? What's wrong with me tonight? That spider is like it's just hovering there. It's bugging me. Full campaigns follow the chronology of phases, each representing a distinct period of the Battle of Britain and comprising a number of patrols that your squadron flies. Channel War, the hardest days, peak phase, and late phase. The patrol generator offers you the flexibility to play a shorter single phase campaign between 6 and 8 patrols, or play 2 or more phases in order to make a longer campaign, 12 to 28 patrols. A campaign will challenge you to keep your squadron intact while making an impact on the relentless wave of formations roaring in from the English Channel. Each phase has its own post patrol random events table featuring occurrences characteristic of that time period. The operating tempo of your squadron and the strain on your men will vary as the table tells you when you have to scramble again. 2 days from now, tomorrow, or perhaps immediately, with barely any time to rearm and refuel. Skies Above Britain, once again, is a solitaire game. I'm going to take a stab. It's probably for ages 14 and up. Plays in around 30 minutes or more per patrol, and it does carry an MSRP of $99. We should be getting an opportunity to take a peek at this because this is out. This began shipping in early November. Usually we get a chance to see the new GMT releases about a month to 5 weeks after they indicate that they're shipping. So, Skies Above Britain as well as Charioteer are both available. And I got to say, I'm really looking forward to checking out Charioteer. That is for sure. So, Russell Higgins is with us. Who else has popped in? Sarah D is also here for the fun. So, we've got 3 of our 4 chat moderators hanging out. 245 Trioxin is also in chat, as is the 4th of the 4 chat moderators. I do see that Flaming Heron is with us as well. Coco B says, uh-oh, spiders are mutating and getting cold resistance. So there's another one. No joke. I'm like, wait a second. That's not the same one I just saw. It's like half the size. But now I'm just taking a look real quick. Now, I wish I actually had a camera that I could like, because for one, I don't want to say they're like daddy long legs sort, but they do have really long legs on these, but they wouldn't show up really. Although there have been times that we've seen a spider come down here in front of the camera and you've seen just sort of a blob moving past. Now, don't know what to tell you. Anyway, Skies Above Britain is available now. Wrapping up a successful Kickstarter for Steamforged Games is Elden Ring, the board game. Here's the scoop. Welcome to the lands between, mysterious and otherworldly realm where the landscape is rich and varied. As you explore, you'll build out a hex based map of your surroundings with unique locations to visit, resources to gather, NPCs to interact with, and enemies to fight. Your progress is tracked by a narrative story that provides objectives as well as guidance on how to achieve them, and, depending on your decisions, alternative side quests and emergent narrative to experience too. Diceless and with strong elements of deck building, combat is both deadly and personal. As your tarnished character levels up, you must carefully build your attack and effect decks to best optimize with your equipment. Although exploration takes place on the zoomed out hex map, each player has their own dedicated quest book on which combat encounters will take place face to face. When you enter combat, you'll open your quest book to the indicated page. There you'll find a battlefield grid that raises the level of combat from one of simple physical positioning to state of mental readiness. Using rows and lanes, this unique system means your position dictates not only your physical position in the encounter, but your battle stance, aggressive, neutral, or defensive. Each battle stance has benefits and drawbacks to exploit and avoid with the changing state of battle, which can even vary from one encounter to the next. The official tabletop adaptation of the hit video game that sold over 13 million copies in its first month after release, Elden Ring, the board game, features huge and lavishly detailed miniatures, as well as close to 1,000 cards, 4 large quest books, and a towering stack of exploration tiles, all in the core box alone. It's a big box cooperative campaign game for 1 to 4 players, where each session is playable in 90 to 120 minutes, and core box campaigns will span 30 to 40 hours, increasing to 90 hours with the expansions. And your tarnished can make the entire journey with you from one region to the next. There is a short Kickstarter video that will give you a better look at Elden Ring, the board game. Elden Ring, the board game, has passed $2.6 million in Kickstarter crowdfunding, and you can get a board at the entry level for the core game, core set, effectively, for a $91 pledge through December 4th. There are a multitude of expansions. As I had already mentioned, with the various expansions, you can extend the campaign out to about 90 hours of gameplay. And of course, get it loads and loads of cool minis because we have already taken a peek at some I almost said Stormforged, Steamforged miniatures in the past, not too long ago. It's only been a couple of weeks, 2, 3 weeks. We're looking at those Epic Encounters miniatures. They were pretty sweet. So, Flaming Heron points out that this is the perfect company to do an Elden Ring board game. I gotta be honest, outside of the minis we looked at with the Epic Encounters, I haven't actually played any of the Steamforged games that they've got out there. And they do have a few, and they are mainly miniatures focused. So pretty sweet. Very, very nice. Flaming Heron's pointing out that this Kickstarter is aimed exactly at gamers like the Madman. All right, let's move on to some role-playing game news because now available for pre-order from Osprey Games is a new supplement for the Swords and Sandals role-playing game Jackals. Here's the dope on Travelers on the War Road. A supplement for Jackals, introducing new rights, talents, and virtues for players, as well as an exploration of the history and cultures of the Zeharets. Jackals Travelers on the War Road is a supplement exploring the regions of the Zeharets and the cultures established in Jackals. It expands the lore for each of the 4 cultures introduced in the core book: Loathai, Gurwa, Merconi, and Trolj. Come on, it's fictional. Don't tell me I mispronounced them because they're fictional. They're not real. Describing their various tribes, clans, and city states, their beliefs, strongholds, and day-to-day lives, adding more nuance and depth to the world and giving players more ways to personalize their characters. New rights, virtues, and talents provide further customization options, while adventure hooks scattered throughout the book hint at new menaces to be battled, new challenges to be overcome, and new glories to be won. The hardcover can be pre-ordered for $25, or you can pre-order the PDF for $17.50. Well, I gotta say, I am very happy to see the fine folks over at Osprey Games are continuing to support Jackals, because that is one thing that we have talked about in the past when I've taken first looks at role-playing games. And I do have another Osprey Games RPG for us to take a look at. We'll probably do it next week. And no, it is not the City Noir. That I was hoping I would see, but I have not. It is the Neon Noir role-playing game, which is from, if I remember correctly, I think it's Alan Barr from Gallant Knight Games, the gent who does a lot of the tiny D6 RPGs. But anyway, I'm glad to see that it's getting another supplement. Unfortunately, it's not an adventure supplement, though. That's what I would really have liked to have seen. But hey, more player options, maybe a few new creatures to toss at the players, a little more background about the setting itself. So very nice. Very nice. Flaming Heron says, damn, I also bought the Jackal core rules. Well, now you're going to have to add this to it as well. Yes, of course, the Madman's now pondering the Elden Rings, the board game. He hears the echoes now. They're getting louder. Yes, I know. The news portion of the show is never friendly to anybody's pocketbook by any stretch of the imagination. My final news piece, now available in print and PDF from Raging Swan Press, is GM's Miscellany Dungeon Dressings for 5e. Here's the skinny. Want to add cool, flavorsome features of interest to your creations, but don't have the time to come up with non-essential details. Want to make your dungeons feel more realistic? Then dungeon dressing is for you. You know, I like dungeon dressing almost as much as I like Thousand Island dressing. This book gives you, the harried, time crunched GM, the tools to bring your dungeon alive in your players' minds. Why buy this book? Adventures set in believable and immersive worlds are better than those that are not. I will second that motion. It follows, therefore, that adventures set in immersive and believable dungeons are better than those that are not. That's the basic premise of this book. Make your dungeons better with GM's Miscellany Dungeon Dressing. The 278-page tome can now be had in hardcover for $39.95, soft cover for $30.95, or if you want just the PDF, you can get that as well. These are all at DriveThruRPG. You can score it for $19.95. Gotta say, Raging Swan Press releases a lot of fantasy role playing accessories. They do adventures and things like that. They do, I know they do like towns and stuff, but they've got a lot of these sort of window dressing books and booklets, because I understand this, I believe this is a collection of a bunch of different releases over the from the past that they've released in like PDF. I think this is very cool. Plus, they have their own sort of like home setting. I think it's, we just saw a map or an image of it. I think it's Gloomhold or something like that. Kind of cool. I would like to get a closer look at some Raging Swan Press stuff at some point in time, because artwork looks pretty cool too. Pretty nice. Right. Once again, this is available over at DriveThruRPG. This is for 5e. I don't know if there's an edition for like the OSR, because I know a lot of times Raging Swan Press does release various editions. So they'll have one for 5e, they'll have one for OSR, and then I think they used to, maybe they don't do it anymore. I think they used to do a Pathfinder one as well. Sweet. All righty, that is it for tonight's news. Who snuck in that I didn't say hello to? I think it was Doug Roberts. Hello, Doug. Welcome aboard. Anyway, I was just talking about DriveThruRPG. Don't forget, the gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, DriveThruRPG or Dungeon Master's Vault, Wargamers Vault, Storyteller's Vault, no, it's Dungeon Master's Guild. Damn it, there's another spider up here. It's on the light. It's on one of the lights, which I have soft boxes on the lights. I'm not going to get into too much detail. So, of course, thankfully, he's not going to hit. I always say he. Aren't spiders like asexual? I don't know. I have no clue. Well, we'll say this is a gender neutral spider up there. Thankfully, it's a soft box, so it's not going to burst into flames. There's 3 of them, actually. There's 3. Nah, it's not like I'm scared of spiders in that. It's just, it's weird because I'll be talking and then you see something out of the corner of your eye coming. Like, what the hell is that? Zoinks! Anyway. The gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So, if you are going to swing on over to any of those sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. All those nickels, dimes, and quarters do add up and really help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource Hell, if you just like what we do, by all means, please stop by paypal.me, paypal.me, not paypal.jeff, paypal.me/the gaming gang, and you can make a small donation. And thankfully, there are plenty of people out there who use the banner ads or stop by paypal.me. And I really do appreciate it. Big tip of the cap. Thank you very kindly, everybody. Cow. Howdy ho, cow. The holiday season, what can I tell you? I can tell you. Anyway, bunch going on. So we're going to jump on into Cy Borg in just a few moments. But there were a few things I did want to talk about. First of all, tomorrow, the Kickstarter for Shake That City kicks off. And if you want to kind of get a jump on it, I did share my review of Shake That City over the weekend. And I enjoyed it. The family and I have gotten a kick out of it. The gang and I have had a lot of fun with it. So I actually brought it with on Thanksgiving. That's why it took a little longer for me to get it is a review too, because everything that is in that box is what you're going to receive. So that is pretty much, outside of some tweaks here and there, probably with the rules presentation, that is the game. So I did give it a review score and did give it a thumbs up, did recommend it as well. So there is that. So also want to mention that you may have seen my review of Wretched Bastards from the Red Room. And I've had a few people reach out by email to ask me if I was aware of the video that the two creators of Wretched Bastards put out there, complaining about the reviews that they've gotten from myself and I believe RPG Pundit. I don't necessarily like being mentioned in the same breath as RPG Pundit. And I think Bryce over at 10-Foot Pole was somebody else. And I'm not going to go through a whole bunch of rigmarole, but for one, I think that the video, I started watching it, and it's over an hour long. And it's just, I don't need to sit there and watch like stream of consciousness complaints. So if you saw my review, I gave this like a 4.5 out of 10. And there were multiple issues that I had with this. And the big thing that the creators took from it was that there's mature content in here. And that upset me, which was not the case at all. If you watch my review, yes, I mentioned it a couple of times because there is no indication on DriveThruRPG, which is where you buy this. There's no mention on DriveThruRPG that this contains mature content. So it says it's, dark, sleazy. Sleazy can mean a whole lot of things. So it's kind of like, the sleazy back alleys. Well, according to the creators of this and some of their sycophants, that's the giveaway, that you're going to run across cuckoldry and discussion of cunnilingus and sexual slavery and sexually transmitted diseases. And yeah, because it says sleazy, you should know that. So I've said time and time again, I don't care how you get your kicks around the gaming table. I really don't. It's not my business. I've said it time and time again. As long as everybody has a good time, nobody gets hurt, either mentally or physically, it's all good. If you want to sit around in diapers and jerk each other off, that's fine. That is completely up to you. I don't want to be invited to that sort of game, but it's completely all right. If whatever you want to do. So my complaint as far as the mature content, of course, for one, I said, you know what? That's not my bag of tricks. Do what you want. But my complaint regarding the mature content was that there is no indication on DriveThruRPG outside of the use of the word sleazy. So I can only tell you my review. I understand other reviewers have basically shit on this RPG, which I had pointed out. I had found plenty of issues with this, from a lackluster, slipshod production as far as the mechanic presentation of the game. There's nothing new to it. It's, the one of the authors specifically states that she's not a fan of uh, putting together rules presentation and putting together mechanics. And I'll tell you what, I mentioned it in the review, it shows. She's not lying. But I also pointed out there were some other good things in here that I found very interesting. Another problem I had was that they share pre-generated characters. They're actually pretty interesting, except for their sexual picadillos. And they include a pretty interesting, like, location, this town of Fork. So it's for an adventure, but the adventure's not in the book. Which, after my review, they have announced over at the Red Room that they're including the adventure for free with the PDF now. MC says, "I'm sorry, is this fatal? Welcome aboard, MC." No. Says he drank. He said, "Jeff, nobody wants to be associated with RPG Pundit." They seem very politically opposite of me, and they tend to always seem to have an axe to grind about stuff. So anyway, Fleming Huron says, "What consenting adults get up to in their own time." Exactly. I'm right with you. I agree. But they make it out like, now, like I said, I don't know what the other reviewers have said, but as far as I understand, they've been shitting on this book. And I mentioned it. I wrapped up my review saying, "Hey, you know what? If you want to download the PDF for like $4.50, there's some stuff you could use in this." But my main gist of the review was not, I was giving it essentially a thumbs down because it had mature content in it. So, for one, for a couple of creators to get together based upon, a handful of reviews, they're negative reviews, and rebutting them. And like I said, I stopped watching because it was just babble. Plus, they're like, "Oh, Jeff over at the Gaming Gang, I don't know. I forget what his last name is. I don't know. I mentioned it twice in the review video. I at least attempted to pronounce your names, creators." Anyway, uh, I'm like, what the geez. First time I've ever had anybody take the YouTube to defend themselves against a review that isn't what they say it is. So I don't know. I will tell you one thing. They sent me a bunch of stuff to review, and I'm not going to bother. Why should I? So I figured, okay, I'm going to chalk this up that's how this game is. And then I'm going to look at Wretched Space, and I'm going to check out Wretched Epoch. Not now. Sorry. And the other thing I was going to mention is these folks are getting way more publicity for their game than they ever would have, even with negative reviews. I don't know. Some people, I just don't know. Don't know, don't care. But I thought I would mention that because I've had 3 emails today asking, "Have you seen it?" I was like, well, I was tagged in a tweet from them. So So Flaming Heron says more like no one needs a shit role-playing game. Nothing wrong with mature content, but that can't be all it is. Well, it is. It could be all it is if it's being presented as here's a setting, here's an adventure. Actually, I think Bryce over at and I don't know RPG Pundit. I don't know Bryce. I don't know any of these people. I'm not like I said, RPG Pundit, I've heard just goes on some rants and politically we're probably quite different, you know. Anyway, but I think Bryce at 10-foot pole reviewed an adventure they did for Wretched Bastards, which is something labia. And in fact, the one author was I even tried to skip ahead the video to see if maybe I could get to a point where, and I understand it. I believe they're Italian and English is probably, you know, a second language to them. But I skipped ahead and it was one of the one creators talking about, oh, you don't like my vagina? Like, well, I don't know. Not me personally. I think she was talking about Bryce ripping on their adventure in a review. So I don't know. It's maybe if you send out products to people who've been reviewing games in this hobby for years and they're all coming back negative, maybe you should look in the mirror. And I think they said to sum things up, their games are for mature people, not the Dragonlance people. Yeah, okay. Anyway, MC says, yeah, that's my point. It's very one-dimensional. Like Conan boinked plenty of chainmail thong wearing babes. They weren't all wearing chainmail thong. So you know, that's not all he did. So MC says, are we out of touch? No, it's the reviewers who are wrong. I know. I know. Whatever. No, skin off my ass. I gave them a review. I gave them an honest review, and unfortunately, they don't appreciate that, and they're pissed off about it. So I'm not going to review their other stuff. Whatever. I'll survive. I'm sure so will they. All right. Anyway, last thing I did want to mention is you still have time for some Cyber Monday deals out there. DriveThruRPG and the One Bookshelf sites have deals. I just saw, and I'll probably take a look after I wrap up the show, but I had looked on Black Friday to see if Amazon had any decent board game deals, and they didn't. But today, they're running buy two, get one free from a selection. Twilight Imperium, 3rd edition, for I think it's $99 is one of them. MC says if they were a game designer, they'd take bad reviews as a form of feedback, as does everyone, as long as it's somewhat constructive. As the Trekkie says, as they lay a cat pee stained hand across her forehead, a beast. I am at least a beast I become. William Hell His Ice is with us. Welcome aboard. I think I've said hello to everybody who's hanging with us tonight. So we're going to jump into taking a peek at Cy Borg and the asset pack for Cy Borg in just a couple of minutes. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
Get those with M&M's, M&M's, and M&M's. Entertain with M&M's, M&M's, and M&M's. Give 'em as a holiday favor, M&M's, M&M's, and M&M's. Fill your shopping days with flavor. M&M's and M&M's.
M&M candies. The milk chocolate melts in your mouth, not in your hand.
M&M's and M&M's.
For Wilkins coffee, you pull this handle.
If I don't want it?
Then I pull this handle. It pays to drink Wilkins.
May the blessings of the world's most beloved holiday be with you. Every year I come from afar to bring the joyous spirit of the Christmas season into your hearts and homes. I fling good cheer, and bid you follow me into the land where there is peace on earth, goodwill toward men. And so once again, on behalf of the management of this theater and all the employees, I wish you one and all a very Merry Christmas.
That was one rough-looking Santa Claus. All right, okay, so we're going to cast this theater management Happy Holidays movie. No, it's, I don't know, it's like 45 seconds long. You know what? I'll tell you what. You go down to Skid Row, and you see what old bum you can get. I'm sorry, I'm sure that gentleman was a fine, upstanding member of the community, but he looked kind of like, you know, like a panhandler or something. Anyway, so yes, Batman says, wow, I've apparently been spending way too much money on Christmas gifts for the wife and kids. Could have just bought them M&Ms. Like, I thought it was funny they show the postman open up the mailbox and there's the jar of M&Ms. Back then it'd be like, oh, sweet, M&Ms. Now it'd be like, oh, stuff is poison, I bet you. Dusty Trekkie says, Santa had a rough few centuries. So William says, Santa Skid Row or Skid Row Santa. Alrighty. So tonight I am going to be diving on into Cy Borg from Free League Publishing and Stockholm Cartel. It's written by Christian Salen with artwork provided by Johan Noor. The 168-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $49.99, or you can grab the PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $24.99. The asset pack is available with an MSRP of $39.99. I don't believe there's any sort of PDF download for the asset pack. All right, that said, swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Cy Borg. So, a few things before we dive on in. First off, I do want to mention the fine folks over at Free League Publishing were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. These days, it's very important that you know that. I should also mention, I don't know if there's some adventures in here or anything like that. I know it's a brand new, well, I shouldn't say brand new system. It's a new game. But if you are a player hoping your game master is going to pick up Cy Borg and run it, I might want to head on out. I don't know. So also, I'll be picture in picture up here as always. So that means I'll be chopping off a little bit of the upper left portion of the book as we take a peek through. So this is, I believe this is considered A5 size. This is sort of like the digest size hardcovers that we have seen previously. I got to admit, I think the page count is higher for Cy Borg than it was for Mick. let's take a look at the back. Nano-infested doomsday RPG about cybernetic misfits and punks raging against a relentless corporate hell. Thought it was going to say raging against the machine. So it is Mickbrig Hacked from Stockholm Cartel and Free League Publishing. All right, so let's dive on in. Do want to mention we are not going to look at each and every page, but I do want to give you a good feel for what's in this book. So I'm going to jump ahead here so I can take the 2 bookmarks out. There we go. Get those out of the way. So looks like we've got black background with a bit of a sheen, bit of a gloss finish. I know that's going to upset some folks out there. I'm just pointing that out. In fact, you can see right here, picking up plenty of glare. But it's been a while since I took a peek and reviewed Mirkberg. But I'll tell you right now, this feels like a much higher production quality. Paper stock is nice and thick. Yes, I get it. A lot of people don't like the gloss. Completely understand. It's worse with this lighting because, as I pointed out previously, there is no natural lighting in the duct tape studios. So this is all artificial lighting. So of course, and there's a lot of it to light everything up. Tessie Trekkie points out, Kickstarter backers have had this for a while. This has just recently come out in retail. I think it came out last week. Because you may recall I've been getting a bunch of stuff from Free League Publishing, just kind of trickling in. And this was a package that arrived as well. All right, so we should have burned this city centuries ago. So right off the bat, I could tell that we are looking at another one of these presentations where it's very focused on the artistic aspect of the presentation and to present an unusual presentation, which we've talked about a bit, where like with Mirkberg, there's an underlying skeletal role-playing game system, which is fine, but it tends to be a little bit lacking. That was what part of my review for Mirkberg was. I guess I can just say Mork Borg because they don't mind people saying it like that anymore. It just felt like there wasn't a lot to the game. Now, of course, I have not looked at this. This is the first peek I've had at this. I have not cracked this book open. My first looks are really that. They're first looks for me and as well as you, or many of you out there already have this book and know much more about this than I do. So MC says, for your information, the complete rules are in a simpler format on the back end papers, which was pretty much the case with Mirkberg too, if I remember right. Tessie Draggy says, whatever you're doing that make Free League love you, keep doing it. They appreciate just straight out honesty. There's been things that I've reviewed from Free League that I was like, it was all right. It's okay. Other stuff I really liked. So, Forgotten Lands, or is it Forbidden Lands? I always forget because it's been so long since I've seen anything for it. They're kind of OSR vibed RPG. Forbidden Lands, I really liked. It was one of my games of the year when it came out. So it looks like we're getting some background information about the setting. So this certainly does have a cyberpunkish dystopian future aspect to it on water. The city is convulsing. I'm sorry, the city is a convulsing, infected Leviathan. The concrete and crystal facades are its tattered flesh. The many lakes, canals, and channels, its acrid veins, pumping acidic waters, fetid waste, and bloated corpses through its sluices and floodgates. Bum, bum, bum. MC says that Cy Borg is a bit more crunchy than Mick Mick. Right, just taking a peek through here. The In-Betweeners. Isn't that a show on the BBC? Wasn't that a show? Wasn't that an English TV show? The salary folk, the cubicle zombies, the cogs in the machine are stored, live here. It was our stored was like the slash through. Live here in endless rows of bland tenement slabs, overcast by an oppressive vista of faceless concrete. I was like, oh, I kind of lost my place there for a second. Vista of faceless concrete brutalism advertised to at every waking moment. There's a disease here. It is irritable as a flickering light. Hyperlocal gentrification will flood a sector with trend thralls and boutique entrepreneurs. Days later, they're gone, exploiting another hidden gem like a plague of locusts scouring a dying earth. Well, I can see this is like the Disney edition here. Miserable headlines. One thing I will mention, and it looks like this is going to be kind of the same, is I found Mork Borg to be an interesting read. I didn't necessarily finish reading it like, oh yeah, I've got to run this. Because for one, I'm not a grimdark fan. I'm not a fan of, oh, the world is gonna end and nothing the players can do is gonna stop that fact. And yeah, it's just not my thing. I guess maybe it's just I don't have that kind of grim dark personality either. All right, so looks like this is how we create our characters, or these are the different types, like archetypes. Okay, so I think now we're getting into, here we go, make a punk. Roll your abilities, randomize your stuff, roll your debt, roll your glitches, roll your hit points, get shit done. Choose or randomize a class and follow the class's instructions for gear, abilities, hit points, debt, and glitches. Roll for features, style, and obsession on pages 54 to 57. All right, so got cash and gear. So our abilities: agility, knowledge, presence, strength, toughness. 3d6, you're generating ability scores -3 to +3. That's what we had in Mick Mick. And we got our difficulty ratings. So you're going to be rolling a d20. You're going to add your bonus. I would take a guess, or I should say, your ability modifier. So MC says the style page is a personal fave. They love the way it looks. Anyway, I was going to say we're probably going to see some modifications based on gear. So we got our tests. So we've got our difficulty rating: simple is 6, routines 8, easy 10, normal 12, difficult 14, really hard 16, almost impossible 18. This is kind of funny. Oopsie. It looks like you are near your current free minutes limit. Remember, exceeding the limit is against company policy and will result in a negative salary code. Have a productive day. So we have the shunned nanomancer. It's inside you, infesting your brain, warping your flesh. People are afraid of you now. They're afraid of the power that poisons you. You're scared too. All right, William's got to run. Well, thank you very much for hanging out, William. We have the burned hacker. You were one of the sharpest deckers in Cy. No one could use tech or warp the world with an app like you could. You don't know what went wrong. You messed up. Maybe you were tricked. Maybe you got sloppy. You glimpsed the terrible truth, and now you're burnt. No collective, no fallback, nothing. We have the corp killer. A good soldier in bad company, always fighting someone else's war in the name of greed. Capitalism crushed your enthusiasm quickly enough, and you were discharged without severance. Got the orphan gearhead. People are unreliable, socially, physically, emotionally. Weak bodies and weaker wills. They are worn down, unfixable. Instead, you have mastered emotionless steel and loyal code. You can fix, drive, and pilot any machine. Machines you can trust. The renegade cyber slasher. That's what it says. You are death incarnate, a frenzied flurry of chrome, murder, and blood-stained steel. But yours is no mindless rage. You match your trained and cybernetically enhanced body with an equally disciplined mind. You used to kill for a cause, for an ideal. Now you kill for money. Tessie Trekkie says, I like Rule Zero. The cops and corpse are never your friend. Yeah. It's a little William Gibson there. We had the Forsaken Gang Goon. You ran with the only gang to have your back and treat you like more than slum trash. They were your family, and you bled, stole, fought, and killed for them. They're gone now, so you have to keep your edge. All right, there's the style page that was mentioned before. MC had pointed out the style page. We're looking at D100 rolls here. So that is one of the aspects of Mirkberg, and it seems pretty obvious of Cy Borg, is the random tables, which is a very kind of OSR flavor. But one aspect that I do find pretty interesting, especially since, I mean, this is a rules light system. And you shouldn't be sitting there spending 2 hours rolling up a character for a game like this. I like all the various different random tables, and I said this about Mirkberg as well, is that all these random tables put together a pretty interesting character that you can have fun role playing. In fact, in some ways, probably more fun than a character that you spent 3 hours, min-maxing and going through every single possible feat and option. MC says there's an online cyborg character generator that's amazing. So, in case you didn't know, MC is one of the designers of Cy Borg. I'm kidding. All right, let's start skipping some pages here because I don't want to share the entire book with you because I'll get in trouble. So AP, is that supposed to be a DS or is this apps? Maybe it's supposed to be apps. Sometimes the oddball changes in font kind of throw me off a little bit. The MC says, "No, I'm not. I just really like it." I know, I'm kidding. I'm just giving you a hard time. MC says it's apps. All right. So I would say, as with that other game I keep mentioning, some people are really going to dig this. Other people probably will not. One thing I will point out that I think has worked against Morkborg is that there were too many releases coming out. Now they weren't from Free League Publishing and Stockholm Cartel, and I remember there's one other company involved with that one. Too many adventures came out that were just some random tables thrown together and oddball artwork where the focus was on the artwork. And it's like, yeah, whatever, it's an adventure. And it's like, no, no, it's not. So yes, MC agrees with me. Way too many third-party Mirkberg releases out there. And I think, as I mentioned, I think that's really worked against the system itself because there's been really no oversight. There hasn't really been any oversight with the third-party products because there's even like, I think it's over at DriveThruRPG. I might be wrong, but I know for a fact that there is like a clearinghouse, I guess we'll say, of third-party PDFs in that. And I don't know. I've seen a handful that were really, really poorly put together and advertised as adventures. And it's like, you know what? If it's an art book, it's an art book. That's fine. Let us know it's an art book, but uh, don't try to play it off as being an adventure because you threw 5 random tables into the PDF. This does look very interesting, though. Just not the most easy to digest with the various different fonts, text colors, and so on. But then again, that's kind of their thing. Got combat vehicles. We have data. Here we go. A bunch of random tables here for style, feature, role, obsession, and quirk. That's when you're creating your character. NPCs, we got a mission generator, rewards, jobs, targets, location features, events, city events, I should say, net events. And then suddenly we get into, oh, here we go. So we get an introductory adventure right here. So, and funny enough, the paper stock changes. So suddenly the paper stock is matte. It's a matte finish. So it's Lucky Flight Takedown. Here's the job, a big favor. The PCs are approached by Charlie Sand, a struggling salaryman with a surprising sense of community spirit. His neighborhood on the port's Big Moss border has been manipulated into debilitating debt by the Lucky Flight Casino. Pleading and talks have led nowhere, so now he needs the help of extra legal troubleshooters to destroy any record of debt and possibly shut down the casino permanently. Dun, dun, dun. So we've got some random encounters. And as you can see, this is very similar to the short adventures that we've seen with Mirkberg, where it's kind of like, okay, here's your little map, here's some bullet points, which some people don't like. Me personally, I kind of like the ability to be able to kind of jump in, read over an adventure once, and then know that when I actually have the game at the table, I can just refer to bullet points to refresh my memory in that without, 5 paragraphs of read aloud. We've got an index of various corps. And then we've got, as MC had mentioned before, breakdown pretty much of our most important rules that you're going to utilize. So that is Cy Borg also received an asset pack. So we're going to open this up, take a look inside to see what we've got here. So those look like character sheets. All right. So we've got a pad of character sheets. We've got our name, class, nano apps, weapons, a couple spots for weapons, armor, equipment, cyber tech, your glitches, strength, agility, presence, toughness, knowledge, current hit points, max hit points, your credits, and your debt. So just a single side. To that, thought we had an adventure in this too. I might be completely wrong, but okay. So we get a map of Cy. And it's got kind of some of the kind of unusual. This has like edges. It's got kind of like a gold inlay to it. That must be like where the rich live. Like another one here is Gulgbacken that has a bit of a kind of a, I don't know if it's camera's really picking it up. There's almost like a little bit of a gold inlay on the map there. And then so this is a bunch of different corporations. So it looks like there's some various different corps. We've got that. Just a poster. And like 16-bit graphics. Oh, it is. It's an adventure, right? Okay. The job. Doc Joy's Varda Reaper Doc hires the PCs to steal a kill match VIP's new chrome legs. The design was allegedly stolen from Doc Joy in a break-in a few weeks back. The offer is 5K. I don't know. That must be the cash. And one of 3 random cyber tech. The legs have to be delivered within 36 hours. Any damages will result in a paid deduction. There we go. There's our adventure here. We get some VIP NPCs. Okay, so this is the location pad. Oh. So we have. Oh, this is kind of interesting. So this is used for creating your own adventures, I would think. And these are just various different locales. Although you'll notice we have multiple entries and then we have duplicate copies of it. So that was 3. Looks like 3 of each. So we got the dive bar. I'm trying to make sure that I'm not cutting off the whole thing. Factory. We're not going to take a peek at each and every one of them. So Tessie Trekkie says location pad is so useful for random maps. a Go Ruin, Laboratory, Luxury Villa. Holy shit, that's big. Look at all those rooms. Nightclub, penthouse. They're going to have like an apartment where it's just like one box. So, Tessie Trekkie says there's 3 entries for each to allow rolling up extra. Shopping mall or plaza or square. And then we've got little random tables for you to customize it. So, as an example, subway train with graffiti as well. Because among the commuters in this car, there's one, a group with spliced in alien DNA trying to convince others to join their cult. 2, some virid vipers making a deal with heavily armed mob lawyers. 3 rich kids slumming it and pestering a cybered up vet seconds away from raging. 4, a nanomancer with huge parasite larvae growing out of their head. All are staring down 3 sec ops looking for a fight. 5, young goons, kids really, botching their attempt at robbing the other passengers. As well as 6, an emergency response team shooting their way toward their client. 2, we got the warehouse, black site, bodega, cable junction shaft, clandestine drug lab. I'm taking a guess that these are on one of the tables in the book. Coffin Hotel. What's in the coffin that no one ever opens? Data crypt. Dre Kismet says that train was so New York City. Yeah, 1970s New York City. Warriors, come out and play, yay! I forget that actor's name, but I remember I saw him in a movie where he actually played a regular, normal, like, good person. I was like, what the hell? The hell's going on with this? Because he always played, just scumbags, bad guys. So MC says random urban cyberpunk locations. The kill match arena. All right. So just paging through this. Once again, I say this all the time. This is not a review, right? Because I've not seen this. This is all brand new to me. But just kind of paging through this, I kind of get the impression that I might end up liking Cy Borg more than I did Mirkberg. Not that I disliked Mirkberg. It's just I wasn't like blown away like a lot of other people were. I thought, I thought it was good. I recommended it, but I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I gotta go get this. So I think maybe it's partially because I see so many role playing games that some people go, oh, the rules light approach and all that. Oh, that's so cool because they've never seen that before. All right, so that was the asset pack for Cy Borg. That carries an MSRP of $39.99. I don't believe it is available in PDF as of yet. It may not later on. Rapscallion J is with us. Welcome aboard. Thanks for hanging out with us as we're getting ready to wrap up. But we also took a peek at Cy Borg from Stockholm Cartel and Free League Publishing. Was this 168 pages? Because it felt like there was more than that. Let's take a peek. No, I guess that was right. As I mentioned before, this paper stock is nice and thick. This should hold up really nicely. And kind of an unusual kind of style to trying to see if I can catch a little glare off. There we go. Of the book itself. So kind of stands out that way as well. Anyway, this carries an MSRP of $49.99, or you can grab the PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $24.99. Swing on over to the other camera, as it turns out that Rapscallion J is actually Jason Bradley. Hey, Jason. So, MC points out Kickstarter backers did get asset pack PDFs. So, it's possible we'll see that released in the future. I don't think it's available in PDF over on the Free League Publishing website, though. So, I was just taking a peek to see if it was hanging around on DriveThruRPG, but the only Cy Borg title is the core book itself. And of course, I'm going to have a review of this in the very near future. So before I wrap up, I do also want to mention that I've talked about this a bit in the past. I really do think come January 1st, I'm going to shift even more into a focus on role-playing games and less so on board games for a multitude of reasons. One is it's just getting so difficult to get together with any of the gang to play games more than once a month, if that. So it's making it kind of hard to really tackle board game reviews, whereas role-playing game reviews, I don't necessarily need that, as yet another spider comes down. Now this one's real little. This one must have just hatched. Sorry, it's going to get a lot colder. Little spider. Anyway, so did want to mention that, but I'm also kicking around, taking a look at some classic adventures from various different systems. Say, oh, I don't know, Call of Cthulhu, possibly. Anyway, yes, Flaming Hunt says Jeff and his spider cave. No, it's the Kingdom of Spiders. Quantum Phase Dragon is popping on in just as I am checking out. All right, everybody, that is it for this time out. Tomorrow, we are going to dive on into the One Ring Ruins of the Lost Realm from Free League Publishing, because it is Free League Publishing Week here on the Dispatch. Then on Wednesday, we're going to take a look at Vossen, Mythic Britain, and Ireland. So we'll be taking a peek at this on Wednesday. Of course, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. Also let you know when I upload standalone videos, such as my review of Shake That City, which launches on Kickstarter for AEG tomorrow. So I will actually have a news piece about Shake That City on tomorrow's show. All right. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. All right. If you were watching live, thank you very much. If you took part in chat, bonus experience points for you, because you not only get to keep me company, you keep each other company. But of course, I know not everybody has an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. I really do appreciate each and every one of you taking time out to watch any of the videos on the Gaming Gang channel. So welcome to the holiday season, everybody. A little bit of changes behind me. So I hope everybody's in the midst of enjoying their holiday season as well. Of course, I'll be back tomorrow. And here's hoping each and every one of you also get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.
Oh, hey, you're still here. That's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks again for watching.